how do you gain weight, not just any type of weight. I'm talking about pounds of lean muscle right here. We're talking about getting big. Bulking season is here. How do you pack on the pounds? First and foremost, the number one tip I can give you that will absolutely guarantee results of building lean quality mass is steroids. What's up everyone, David here, got a new video for y'all today. But before we get into it, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on any new videos. Remember, new videos every week. So for today's video, we're gonna be talking about how do you gain weight, not just any type of weight. I'm talking about pounds of lean muscle right here. We're talking about getting big. Bulking season is here. How do you pack on the pounds? First and foremost, the number one tip I can give you that will absolutely guarantee results of building lean quality mass is steroids. All jokes aside though, if you're watching this video, most likely you have the intention of actually gaining weight. You started joining the gym because you want to start building some mass, you want to start filling out your clothes, you want people to take notice of you when you're walking down the street, but despite all the progress you made, your body dysmorphia is eating away at you like a dog gnawing on a bone. If that's you, this video is for you. If you want to pack on the pounds, we're going to be looking at three different components of fitness. We're going to be talking about your actual workouts themselves, your diet, and your recovery. This right here is the holy trinity, each one equally as important as the last. First portion we're going to be looking at is going to be the workouts themselves, the exercise. What type of split are you on? Things like that. So the number one tip I'm going to give is lift heavy, lift often. Now, I'm not talking about maxing out every week. What I'm talking about is struggle when you're working out. Okay, by this struggle, a lot of people, they do a set. All right, that's good. Add a little bit more weight. Do their set. Okay, add a little bit more weight. And it's not until they finally reach that last and final set, usually right around the fourth set, that's when they start feeling that struggle, that fatigue. No. If the workout program says do 4 sets of 8, then those are 4 working sets of 8. But if you're doing 4 sets, and each one is increasing weight until the 4th set is the most challenging one, realistically, you're cutting your progress short. When it comes to building muscle, you want to put whatever muscle it is that you're working on. In this case, we'll just use the chest as the example and bench press as the exercise. If you're benching, you want to struggle each set that you're doing, all right? You want good quality working sets. If the workout program says 4 sets, then all 4 sets should be a challenge. It shouldn't be 3 warm-up sets leading up into a 4th good set. Struggle however many reps that the workout program is saying, that's how many it should take you to start reaching that struggle. If the workout program says 8, okay, get up to 8. And I'm not saying you have to max out every single time. If you want to build muscle, just work up to a point where you're struggling, and by the time you hit your last rep, you could have done 1 or 2 more afterwards. Again, you don't have to hit absolute failure each time. When it comes to building muscle, you just need to make sure the muscle is working. You got to place it under some type of stress, some type of stimulus to elicit a response. So again, I always like to think of it as whenever I hit my last rep, I stop to the point where I could have done maybe 1 or 2 more. I'm not going to absolute failure. That's a common misconception. You don't need to do that every single time. Now, along with that, how often are you training a muscle group? Are you hitting it as frequently as you want? For example, if you're training everything once a week and you're not gaining the weight that you want, you're not seeing the results you want, okay, maybe that's not enough training. Maybe you need to train that muscle group twice per week. If you have a lacking muscle group, let's just say your back is a weak point and you're training it once a week, but your chest is just too dominant, okay? If you want to get your back to the same level as your chest, maybe you got to train it a little bit more often. Maybe train your back twice per week. Again, overall, training frequency will also make a difference, how often you train a muscle. On the flip side of that, maybe it's not necessarily always about how often you're training the muscle. Maybe it's just how much volume are you doing overall per week. Let's just say you're training your back twice a week, and each time you do 2 back exercises, you do some type of row and some type of pull-up, 3 sets each. So that gives us 6 sets on one day, 6 sets on the other day. Okay, is that enough? Okay, maybe not. Maybe you're still gonna continue to train it twice per week, but now you're gonna add more volume. Again, what's more important here is not necessarily the frequency, it's just how much overall weekly volume. If you're doing a total of 12 weekly sets per week per muscle group and you're not seeing the results you want, okay, bump it up. Maybe you gotta do more. Just play around with it. Just know if you wanna get more muscle, maybe you need to train it more often. But on the flip side of that, if you're going to be training something more often, maybe you might not be seeing results because you're training it too much. At that point, are you overtraining? And that leads us to our next topic of recovery. Remember what we said in the beginning? We got the workouts, the recovery, nutrition. For the recovery, are you overtraining? For those who don't know, overtraining means you're pushing so hard and you're training a muscle so much, but over time, you start seeing a decrease in performance, okay? So you're not even getting any benefits. If anything, now you're going backwards. So the way I like to measure it is pick a weight that usually you use to gauge how your warm-up sets are. So I like using the example of deadlifts. Usually I will deadlift up until the 400. So 4 plates and something change plates on the side. I like to use my warm-up sets 1 plate, 2 plates, 3 plates before I get into 4 plates. But every time I hit the 3 plate mark, I start gauging it there. I'm like, how did this 3 plates feel? Did it feel smooth? If so, okay, I'll be good to go for the 4th plate. But there's gonna be days where sometimes I feel like, oh, the 3 plates felt a little bit heavier than usual. I already know the 4th plate is going to be a little harder. It's things like that where if you start noticing a decrease in performance, that's your body giving you a sign that, okay, maybe you might want to back it down a bit. Maybe you need a little bit more rest. Again, recovery is equally as important. If you want to build muscle, you want to pack on that size, you need to give your body a break as well. You can be hammering away at the gym all you want. You can be pushing as hard as you want. You can do all the exercises you want, all the sets you want. You can be squeezing your chest set after set after set of bench press. But if you're not giving your body adequate recovery, it is not going to give you the same results as you could if you were to be prioritizing things like sleeping, resting, enough days of rest in between training a muscle group, things like that. The example I like to use is you're driving a car. You can drive it for miles and hours on end, but if you don't occasionally stop to fill up for gas, eventually you're not going to get anywhere. Same thing in the gym. You could be training for day in, day out, week in, week out, months at a time, but if you're not taking the proper rest time, in this case, to refuel, that's your car driving, you need to stop for gas, eventually you're going to not get anywhere. So if you're pushing hard and hard week in, week out, but you're not resting, eventually you're not going to get any results. You're just going to be burning yourself out and working backwards. And that's not what you need when it comes to building muscle. Again, your muscles grow, recover, recuperate in your sleep. So prioritize that sleep. I got plenty of videos already emphasizing what to do to emphasize your sleep and how to build better sleep quality. Okay, make sure you look at those videos. And realistically, you know when you're not getting enough sleep. If you wake up in the morning to work out and you're feeling tired, you're just causing more harm. All right, prioritize the sleep. If you go into a workout sleep deprived, that ultimately is going to affect how hard you can push yourself. You can't push yourself as hard. You won't be able to elicit as much of a stimulus, can't build more muscle longer. It's just a domino effect of negative things that are going to happen. Again, you want to build that muscle, gain size. You got to equally as emphasize the recovery portion. Do not overtrain. And along with that, sometimes it's just not overtraining. Maybe you're just under recovering. It's ironic, right? It's like saying, oh, I'm not fat, I'm just not skinny. Maybe you're not overtraining. Maybe you're just under recovering. And again, you can work out more and more and more. You can add more days. That's perfectly fine, as long as you're also emphasizing even more recovery, getting more sleep, more days of rest in between muscle groups, getting more calories. If you're going to be doing more workouts and you're going to be burning more calories, you need to replenish them as well. And that's a good segue into the last and final topic when it comes to these three: workout, recovery, diet. When it comes to gaining weight, those calories are important. Realistically, if you want to gain weight, this is the most important thing. You got to be in a caloric surplus. If you're not eating more calories than you're burning, you're not going to be gaining weight. I mean, that's just as simple as that. It's like the old saying that every bodybuilder says: you want to get big, you got to eat big to get big. Simple as that. Just load up the calories, especially like me, myself. If you're trying to gain weight, I was always a skinnier person. I was never big. I was always very thin. I had to constantly be eating and eating and eating until I finally got to this point. And even then, right now, I'm not the biggest guy in the world, but at the same time, I'm not as thin as I was before. So if you want to pack on those pounds, start loading it up. Now, typically, the most common bodybuilding diet we see is chicken and rice, which is not bad. So we see these bodybuilders eating that particular diet and we think, I got to do that. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Chicken and rice, chicken and rice, chicken and rice. But you got to keep in mind, when it comes to your diet and gaining weight, there's 3 macronutrients: protein, carbs, fats. All 3 are equally as important for overall health and, to gain the weight. But let's break it down individually. the protein, we already established these bodybuilders be eating their chicken breast, which is fine. But what's the reason why they're doing that? Usually, and I feel like just the reason why that diet became popular for bodybuilders is because they're trying to gain a lot of muscle, but not fat. So they're trying to limit how much fat they're eating. And chicken breast is a very lean piece of meat. But if you're already on the skinnier side, don't be afraid to eat your fats, all right? Start packing on the pounds. That's perfectly fine. One thing that I really want to emphasize is when it comes to gaining weight is you're going to gain some fat along with it, and that's perfectly fine. Me, I used to have very, very defined abs when I was thinner, but I was thin. I had, defined muscles. You could tell I lift, but ultimately, once I decided, you know what, I'm just going to start eating. I don't care about the fat content. I'm just going to start packing it on. I still got somewhat of abs, but I've also gained so much more weight elsewhere. And that's perfectly fine. So instead of chicken breast, if you still want to stay with chicken, go with chicken thighs, drumsticks. These pieces of meat have a good amount of protein as well, but they also have a good amount of fat on them. You can even switch out from chicken, go to turkey, go to red meat. Red meat especially has got a lot of fat, but it's also got a lot of protein from the meat itself. These things are higher in calories, and when you want to gain weight, that's when you need the calories. And as long as you're burning them up and just taking care of your health overall by eating your fruits and vegetables, that amount of fat will not give you all of these heart problems that most people might say. No, you're working out consistently. You're getting your physical activity. You're eating your fruits and vegetables. You're looking out for your diet overall. You're focusing equally on the micronutrients like your vitamins, minerals, compared to the macronutrients such as protein, carbs, fat. So overall, it's not going to harm you. Just load it up. Now, let's talk about the carbs. When it comes to gaining weight, carbs are going to be your best friend. We already established the protein. Me personally, I try to go for at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. But you could adjust it according to you. Just know, you want to gain muscle? Protein. But the carbs, that is where the calories just load them up. And what I like about carbs is they're just so much easier to digest. When was the last time you ate a piece of meat and you felt like it just sat in you? But when you eat carbs, it digests a lot better. So I like going with rice, oats, pastas. Not necessarily big on bread. It's not because I'm got a gluten intolerance or anything like that. It's just, personal preference. I'm not a big fan of bread in general. But rice especially, that's my biggest thing. Easy to make, relatively cheap. You can eat a lot in one sitting. It's not hard. It's not like dry chicken breast where you're just chewing and chewing. Just make it to the right consistency. Eat it up. Things like that. That's going to help you gain weight. You can pack it in there. Now, along with carbs, I would like to point out fruits and vegetables are also carbs. They break down to sugars. Your body needs that for energy. Now, when it comes to gaining weight, yes, you're going to be getting bigger. You are going to be gaining some fat, which is perfectly fine, but don't put your health at risk. I see all these bodybuilders, their meals, they're just eating protein, carbs, chicken and rice, steak and potatoes and all that. Eat your fruits and vegetables too. Yes, you're trying to gain weight, but you also want to be healthy about it. I don't want to be one of those bodybuilders where they just eat so much to get so big, and then when they're being interviewed, you hear their, yeah, so I do 4 sets of 8. Yeah, my diet is this. You can hear their heavy breathing through the video. Why? Because they're carrying around so much weight, man. Their cardiovascular system is not working as good. Maybe they're not looking out for the smaller things. Again, you want to gain weight, but also prioritize your health. Don't put your health at risk just for the sake of filling out your clothes and looking bigger. Eat your fruits, eat your vegetables. Those green things that you leave at the bottom drawer of your fridge that you throw out once they go bad, yeah, those are called vegetables. Those are actually good for you. Those are equally as important. You need those as well. It's not just about the protein, carbs, and fats. Get your greens in. Greens, vegetables, fruits, they're carbs. Add those into your meals. If you want to eat a meal of chicken thighs, rice, and a side of broccoli, boom, you got your protein, carbs, and you got a good source of vegetables right there to get your vitamins and nutrients in. Now, last component, fats. You are going to be gaining fat. I've already said that. That's okay. You're still active. You're looking out for your health. That's perfectly fine. Don't be afraid to put on a couple pounds of fat. I mean, look at this. I could grab onto this. I don't care. I don't got as much as visible abs, but that's not my main concern. My core is still strong. That's perfectly fine. If I ever want to get more defined abs, I'll go on a cut. That's fine. But if I want to gain the muscle, I got to get some fat along with it. Afterwards, I could burn the fat away. I could increase the cardio or just modify the diet from there. But when it comes to your fats, that doesn't mean eat donuts and all this unhealthy food. Get your good, healthy fats in. Get some good oils in there like olive oil, avocado oil, avocados in general, the yolk of an egg. Those are all good fats. The fat on a steak, the fat on a piece of chicken, these are all natural sources of fat. This is what you need. Very, very calorically dense. You can eat these to gain size. And just to put it out there, 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. 1 gram of carbs is 4 calories. 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So if you want to put that into perspective when it comes to figuring out what you're going to be eating, just throw that out there. Fats are more calorically dense, but you also got to be on the lookout of where those fat sources are coming from. Again, you don't want to put your harm at risk. Don't just be eating a bunch of fattening foods. You know, that's going to cause a lot of heart problems. You're going to clog your arteries. You don't want that. You want to build muscle, not put your fucking heart at risk. So again, protein, carbs, fat, overall caloric surplus. You got to be eating more. And the last and final tip when it comes to this type of stuff is going to be liquid calories. Me personally, I never had the biggest appetite. I was never the biggest eater, but one thing that helped me is I started blending a bunch of food because it's so much easier to take down calories if it's in the liquid form. You can just chug it in one shot. So I like to do what's called mass gainer shakes, but realistically there's no mass gaining powder. It's just a bunch of good, decent food all blended up. So milk, if you're drinking almond milk, bump it up to regular milk because it's got more calories. If you're lactose intolerant, just get lactose-free regular milk. It's got way more calories compared to like these milks made out of seeds and almonds and all that nonsense. I put bananas in there. Peanut butter, it's got fat. I monitor it, it's high in calories, but again, be careful with the fat if you don't want to put the heart at risk. I put oats, good amount of calories in there. Again, liquid calories, just blend whatever you can, just chug it, drink it down like that. Liquid calories are so much easier to get. You can make these mass gainer shakes. Since we're speaking of mass gainers, if you want to introduce supplements, you can, but I wouldn't necessarily say they're as important to gain muscle. If your whole point is to gain weight, prioritize real foods. Don't think that just getting this one protein powder is all of a sudden going to magically make you gain weight. Don't think that this mass gainer shake is all of a sudden going to make you put on 20 pounds of muscle. No, at the end of the day, it's calories in versus calories out. If you're not already eating a good diet and already getting some food down, then realistically, the supplements are not going to do much. Remember, they're called supplements for a reason. They're meant to supplement your overall diet. You should be prioritizing good whole foods from actual meals. And then on top of that, if you need to, supplements. But if you're already getting the right amount of protein from all your natural food sources, we already went over, you could go chicken, turkey, steak, things like that, then there's no need for a supplement protein powder. Now, if you're doing all that and then on top of it, you want to put protein powder just because, you know, it's convenient for you like it is for me, then by all means do so. But protein powder should not take the place of regular food. Calories in versus calories out. Simple as that. Now, how you want to disperse this distribution of food throughout the day, that's going to be up to you. Either you eat less times per day, but in bigger quantities, or you do what I do. I can't eat that much in one sitting, or I got decent sized meals, but I eat more frequently throughout the day. So I eat 6 meals throughout the day. They're a certain size, but some people I know, they only eat 3 or 4 times per day, but it's a bigger quantity. At the end of the day, you're still eating the same amount of calories, and that's what it comes down to. Calories in versus calories out. You want to gain weight, you gotta eat more. Be in a caloric surplus. There you have it, everyone. That's just the 3 main components that I feel are important when it comes to gaining weight. You got your workouts, your recovery, and your nutrition. Your workouts, you gotta push that muscle. You gotta force it to grow, but at the same time, you don't wanna push it over the edge too much to the point where you start working backwards. That's where recovery comes into play. You wanna make sure you're giving that muscle enough rest, making sure that you're giving an off day so that way it has a chance to, you know, build itself back up. You wanna prioritize your sleep because that's when your muscle is recovering at night. If you're gonna be doing more workouts, you wanna replenish it with the calories they're burning. That leads us into nutrition. You gotta eat more than you're burning. You know, you gotta eat big to get big. You gotta prioritize those protein, those carbs, those fats. Again, you don't wanna put your health at risk. You wanna gain weight, but you don't wanna be eating a bunch of fattening food that's just gonna clog your arteries. We're in this for the long game. Health takes priority over everything. You can gain weight, you can fill out your shirts, put on that mask, but ultimately if you got heart problems from all the unhealthy eating, clogging your arteries, it's hard to go up and down the stairs, you can't even walk to your car without getting out of breath, that might be a sign to change. Again, overall health can be looked out for even when you're bulking. Just want to put that out there. There you have it, everyone. Hope this video was helpful. Again, I've been there. I know what it's like to be on the skinnier end and wanting to gain weight. All these people that say, oh no, I don't want to start getting too bulky. Bro, I've been trying to get too bulky, all right? It's not that easy. It takes consistency to get up to that point. But Again, these were just my tips on how to gain weight, looking out for workouts, nutrition, and recovery. Comment down below what has helped for you to gain weight. Comment down below also any other video suggestions you'd like to see me do, whether it be about mindset, motivation, nutrition, diet, workouts, or just anything fitness related. I'll be more than happy to do so. Make sure you subscribe to not just my channel, but my girlfriend's channel, couples channels, so you don't miss out on any new videos. Remember, we got new videos every week across the board for all 3 channels. And then for Instagram and TikTok, same thing. Make sure you follow me on my accounts, girlfriends, couples. I put all the links down in the description below. With that being said, I'll catch y'all next time.